Regional cooperation is key in achieving a sustainable energy future. The ASEAN Power Grid is a critical initiative to strengthen cross-border electricity integration, and Japan's Asia Zero Emission Community, or AZEC, plays a central role in supporting this effort. In this ambassadorial brief, supporting the ASEAN Power Grid through efforts at AZEC in Japan, we will hear insights on how to advance clean energy and regional resilience. We are honored to welcome His Excellency Noriyuki Shikata-san, Ambassador of Japan to Malaysia, to deliver the ambassadorial brief.
Good morning, selamat pagi. Almost noontime, so it's almost good afternoon. Actually, I have listened and followed the prior panel discussion with much interest, and it's great to be able to come on board with this gatherings on focusing how we could deploy renewable energy, and it's a great honor for me to address the issue of supporting the ASEAN Power Grid through efforts of Asia Zero Emission Community initiative initiated by former Prime Minister Kishida, whom I worked for directly as a Cabinet Secretary for Public Affairs during the 3 years before I came to Malaysia. In terms of my kind of engagements with energy issues, I used to be an energy advisor based in Paris with a mission to Japanese mission to the OECD and IEA, and I was working very closely with people like current Director General of IEA, Dr. Fatih Birol. It so happened that I was appointed as the first head of Director of Global Communications at the Prime Minister's Office in the summer of 2010. And as was referred to earlier, there was, it just so happened that in March 2011, there was a Fukushima nuclear power plant accident due to the Great East Japan quake. And as a head of Global Com at the Prime Minister's Office, I probably took more than 50 interviews, CNN, BBC, all those live interviews. Some of them, those days, coming from conflict zones. For example, in Libya, February 2011, there were all those Northern African conflict news, and all those, many of those reporters came to Japan, to Tokyo, to Tohoku. It's the breaking news in terms of the crisis. So I have worked on Fukushima nuclear power plant communications, and as I mentioned, I was involved in the launch of AZEC initiative from Japan during the prior administration of Prime Minister Kishida, and the current Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba has been strongly supporting and pushing for this initiative. Before getting into today's main issue, maybe I should just explain Japanese lifestyle these days. If you are civil servants working in Tokyo, our office temperature is set at 28 centigrade. So this room is way, way too cold for me. And so what we have been promoting is cool biz. When the current Tokyo governor, Madam Koike, was environment minister, she was promoting, this so-called cool biz. And now we have a cool biz period in our central government offices from the beginning of May until the end of October. So you don't have to wear ties, no jackets. You can wear either polo shirts or batik. So this is a great marketing opportunities for Malaysia to promote Malaysian batik. So that's my take. And also these days, when I receive visitors from Japan, these days, during the last 2 months, they say that, Kuala Lumpur is not as hot as Japan. Actually, today's temperature in Japan, or for example in Tokyo, is much higher. We are talking about 35 degrees centigrade. And Malaysia's temperature, as you know, remains kind of constant, around 30 centigrade. And even Hokkaido, our northernmost island, we are seeing a heat wave. So this is existential issue for us, and I'm really glad to address these issues today. So when I move to this AZEC-related discussion, I just briefly touch upon power production by source among ASEAN countries from 2000 to 2020. And as you see in this power production by source, coal and natural gas are predominant. So this is a reality of ASEAN's power production landscape. And also, you see that the supply of power has tripled in 20 years. And the prior panel discussion implies that this power production will further go up. And you also notice that the coal power production, given young coal fired power plants, they will continue to operate during years to come, decades to come. So how can we achieve, carbon neutral? Most of Southeast Asian countries, ASEAN countries, have committed themselves to carbon neutral by 2050, including Malaysia. And at the same time, you notice that the energy mix of respective ASEAN countries are very different. So this indicates that the policy approach needs to be differentiated according to respective countries' case. For example, you see Lao PDR. Lao PDR is abundant with its hydropower. So 3/4 of power supply is coming from hydro. But it's not the case for other countries. Probably Malaysia has more hydropower spare capacity in the future, given Sarawak's huge dams. So the principles and ideas of AZEC is we wish to realize this triple breakthrough. We could call it 3 E's: emissions reduction, economic growth, energy security, and public policies would not be sustainable without addressing those 3 causes or objectives. So we wish to address or realize simultaneously addressing those 3 E's. And on the right hand, as you see, the common goal is 2050 carbon neutral, but the path to the peak could be different. So this is the basic principles and idea. One goal, various pathways. So as I mentioned, PM Kishida proposed this idea in 2022, and ASEAN countries and Australia and Japan are the members. And we have been meeting among energy ministers and leaders at the summit level. So when Prime Minister Ishiba came to Malaysia in January, Mr. Ishiba asked Prime Minister Anwar to co-host this AZEC summit meeting in Malaysia, so which is going to happen in the end of October. So it's a summit level discussion among AZEC participating countries. And there is a regional organization called ERIA, ERIA, and there is a Asia Zero Emission Center, which provides intellectual input into this AZEC process. And they are supporting creation of energy transition roadmaps for respective AZEC members. So what we have been seeing is the last year's ASEAN summit, there was second AZEC leaders meeting held in Vientiane, and the leaders agreed on action plan for next decade. And so we are coming up with developing a short to medium term action plan to facilitate AZEC solutions. And there are a number of emerging sectoral initiatives, such as sustainable fuel, next generation industry, could be auto sectors, among others. And we wish to support creating concrete projects, making use of the Japanese government's financial instruments, including ODA. So we emphasize the concept of transition finance. And this could be somewhat different from EU's concept. And we think that there needs to be transition technologies that would be viable for some time to come before new innovation technologies or sometimes disruptive innovation take place. So we need to ensure energy security, and we discussed the baseload power supply. So we need to make sure that the energy supply would be consistent. But at the same time, we wish to apply transition technologies, for example, in the case of the auto sector, hybrid. We think that hybrid has some years to come, or possibly decades to come. It's a viable technologies. When, as we discussed, power supply is not coming from renewables. So even if you are driving electric vehicle, your power supply are not green. So how do you reconcile it? There are policy level collaboration, exchange of views, and learning lessons from each other, because the energy policy landscape is different according to the countries. So we have initiated the AZEC Leading Action Forum, and we are starting to address sectoral issues. So power sector is one, transport is very important, and the industry sector is such a wide-ranging sectors. So you may have heard this GX, we call it the green transformation, and the Japanese government introduced green transformation strategy 2 years ago. And our government, for the first time, decided to issue GX, Green Transformation Transition Bond, for the next 10 years. So GX Transition Bond is expected to be issued in the order of 20 trillion yen, which will be accompanied by 100 trillion yen of private sector investment. So there is going to be a matching process in consultation with Japanese domestic industries, and the issues, sectoral issues, include, for example, steel, cement, chemicals, auto sectors. Those are the hard-to-abate industries, and we need to tackle those industries specifically. You need to tailor. We need to tailor our policy approaches according to the industries, and also buildings. We wish to come up with smart buildings, which could include, for example, in countries like Japan, where we have different seasons. We wish to have an insulator during the winter time. And so energy efficient buildings are another area. So in Japan, we have started to address comprehensively those issues. GX strategy and the GX transition bond is giving incentive for the industries to invest in emerging technologies that would reduce, would lead to less carbon emissions. And this also includes supply chain issues. Supply chain is very important. And I mentioned transport, but for example, maritime transport is also important. Japanese companies are investing in realizing zero emission shipping. So solar panels, could come on board and so forth. And energy storage is another sector. So I briefly mentioned, these electric vehicles. There was a prior discussion of life cycle, cost, recycle and so forth, of solar panels. The same thing applies, for electric vehicles and hybrid, which would be more more effective in addressing environmental life cost impacts, or the reducing impacts on the environment. And there are two different views, which one would be more effective. And as I mentioned in the context of transition, we need, in order to address or reach carbon neutral, we need new technologies. We need breakthroughs, no doubt about it. The current technologies would not be sufficient. But in the meantime, we need transition energy. So we, in the context of AZEC, we have been supporting over 100 AZEC projects across ASEAN countries. Malaysia has 10 projects so far. Malaysia is no longer a developing country. Malaysia is becoming a high-income country. I think Malaysia is qualified to join the OECD or maybe IEA. And so as far as I see it, the projects emerging in Malaysia are more advanced or sophisticated level. And would be probably commercially viable. I mentioned a little bit about the Japanese GX transition strategy. That's mainly for the domestic investments. But AZEC allows many Japanese companies, for example, to come to Sarawak. Of course, we have been so dependent on Malaysia's LNG. Malaysia exports 40% of LNG to Japan. And following Australia, Malaysia is the second largest source of gas import for Japan. So Malaysia, for Japan, our energy security depends on Malaysia's stable supply of energy. At this point of time, gas. But now, when I talk to Japanese companies, they are going to Sarawak a lot because Sarawak has all sorts of energy potentials. We discussed the hydropower, but there are potential for biofuel, making use of palm. Companies like Panasonic Home has been producing palm loop furniture. So you know, palm lumberts or the trees are wasted, and that have actually negative impacts on the environment. So one Japanese company is coming up with this palm loop, and they have already started selling furniture, making use of Malaysian palm trees. And they are exhibited in Osaka Kansai Expo. And this one is, one example is carbon capture, storage, and there are emerging CCS projects, and this is something which would be maybe for the first time in collaboration with Petronas, we would be exporting CO2 from Japan to Malaysia and implement CCS. Another one is this ammonia combustion gas turbine. The company called IHI and Petronas, they have been collaborating with ammonia-fired gas turbine. IHI has in the past invested in coal-fired power plants, and they can make use of existing coal-fired power plants facilities, and also they could make use of ammonia, which could derive from hydropower. So, of course, the hydropower could be transformed, converted to either hydrogen, ammonia, or methane, and so there are a number of Japanese companies having technologies in these areas, and if there is a kind of application to be realized in Malaysia, that could be realized before they would be implemented inside Japan or any other countries. So that's the kind of the background behind Malaysia's potential in this area. And ASEAN Power Grid, this is something Prime Minister Anwar has been promoting as chair of ASEAN, and we strongly support this ASEAN Power Grid. And there is natural connection between AZEC initiative and ASEAN Power Grid. So there is emerging potential project, for example, connecting Sarawak and Johor. There was already discussion about the Johor as a hub for data centers in Southeast Asia. Actually, Johor or Malaysia would become the hub for the data centers in Asia, coupled with Japan and most likely India. So this is Muri-Mudai corridor coming from Sarawak to Johor. Probably there needs to be some coordination with Indonesian waters, and probably Singapore is also interested in receiving power supply from Sarawak. So this would be one of the major examples of the hydropower to be transmitted by the submarine cables. And this would be, I guess, transmission capacity could be something like 3 gigawatt, which is huge. So I will just conclude just by coming up with another example. I don't know how many you have ever visited Lalaport in Bukit Bintang. Anybody? Okay, some? Oh, maybe nearly half. So actually, Lalaport, it's Mitsui's Mitsui real estate project. We have lots of Lalaport in Japan. And in my view, this could be one model of smart cities. So Lalaport is coming up with a new bus terminal underground. And they have already started long distance bus service from Bukit Bintang or Lalaport to Singapore and Bangkok. And I asked the company how much it costs. They say that this is a full flat bus ride would cost 100 ringgit. Not bad. And it would be the first case in Kuala Lumpur to have a bus terminal inside the mall. And then what I'm discussing is this Japanese startup company called Wheeler, a joint venture with Malaysian company, has launched a new app called Mobi. And this van can host 12 passengers. And the initial project is connecting Mont Kiara. Actually, there are quite a few Japanese living there. And Lalaport, Bukit Bintang. And see that this part is RSGC, yes. And actually my residence is covered, actually. and so anyhow, this is kind of an attempt to discourage driving into downtown. But please don't don't drive Toyota, Verifier by yourself. It's a kind of message. And so this is actually one project that is starting to be implemented. They are launching this on the 11th of September. And this model could be applied in Johor Bahru or Georgetown, Penang. And already Malaysia has good public transportation system, but there are fundamental, it seems to me, that there exist major problems of first 1 mile and last 1 mile issues. And stations could be better developed with department stores and, those people who have gone to Tokyo, you don't really need to drive in Tokyo. And I would not drive into downtown Tokyo because the public transportation is okay, comfortable. So anyhow, this is a kind of a lifestyle, change issues. Of course, there is an economics issue which I would not dare to comment. For example, the petrol prices in Malaysia is 1/3 of that of Japan, right? So of course it's cheap, to drive in Malaysia, and the highways are very good, but there exists traffic jams in some, mega city areas. And if Malaysia can show model examples, then this could lead to, AZEC initiative across ASEAN countries. I'm talking about Ho Chi Minh, Bangkok, Jakarta, those cities, that suffer much more serious traffic jams. And you are wasting energy, by allowing this traffic jam to continue. And eventually, this could, these solutions could go to India, mega cities. Japan has been working on high-speed rail projects with India, possibly 7 Shinkansen lines. But at the end of the day, Shinkansen will not be sufficient. We need efficient urban, transport network. And the smart city should involve maybe this area, could be more friendly to pedestrians, joggers, cyclists. My impression is that pedestrians here, especially in KL, may not enjoy walking around. So that's the kind of smart city idea that I have also discussed with Mayor Dr. Maimuna. So hopefully, this kind of comprehensive approach would lead to addressing these climate challenges that we are facing today. Thank you.